Hey everybody, welcome to day number 3 of the 1000 words for 1000 days. I am Nick Sands and I am sweating like a pig. It is October 4th at 6:30 p.m. and in 5.5 hours I'm going to be taking on the biggest challenge of my life. Yes, way bigger than that frat party turned train ride in my 20s. At midnight tonight I begin my attempt at eating 400 graham crackers. I'm super nervous about the attempt, but I've been doing everything I can to train for it. So at this point, there is really nothing I can do but to get it done. Here's a quick peek at my training, my strategy, and where I think my potential roadblocks are going to be. First off, let's look at the numbers. I'm going to be using Hannaford brand graham crackers because they are the cheapest. I did reach out to several companies, including Honey Maid, but unsurprisingly, no one was interested in slapping their name on this debauchery. I'm going to eat 400 full sheets of graham crackers. I know that technically there are 4 crackers per sheet, but that feels like cheating, so I'm counting 1 full sheet as 1 graham cracker. Let's talk training. Because 24 hours is such a long time period, I didn't focus on speed at all. I focused all my training towards stomach capacity. I did liquid training as well as additional stretching after meals using water to increase my stomach capacity. I also did 1 stomach capacity test meal every week. For the liquid training, I would attempt to drink between a half gallon and a gallon of water, depending on the day, in the shortest amount of time possible. I didn't time these because I was going off of feel and didn't want to get too competitive with myself and cause an injury or to induce vomiting. From what I've read, once your body starts learning to throw up after a big feed, you'll just start to do it, and it's hard to retrain yourself afterward. And so it's much easier to just not allow it to happen in the first place. I don't actually know if that's true, but I worked really hard not to find out for myself. I would also chug water, Powerade, or diet soda after my meals, not to the point of bursting or pain, but just to feel like slightly more full and to get a good stretch in my stomach. Lastly, every week I would do 1 really big meal to test my stomach capacity. At the beginning of the training, I was able to take in about 4 pounds of food and a quart of liquid in about 20 minutes, and as of my last big meal, I could take in 6 pounds and a quart of liquid in around the same amount of time. I do think that's pretty solid improvement over the course of like a month. So adding an additional 2 pounds of food into my stomach. For anyone who doesn't know training or who doesn't know competitive eating, like 1 pound of food is considered essentially the equivalent of 1 pound of food. And so that's basically how you gauge where your stomach capacity is at. All told, the 400 graham crackers is around 14 pounds of food, so it's a little bit more than double my stomach capacity. Since my meals were mostly things like melon and yogurt, I'm not sure how that's going to transition to graham crackers, which are obviously a lot denser and will probably stick around in my guts a lot longer, which is a perfect segue into strategy. From what I could tell, I'm the only person to ever attempt this, probably for good reason. If you're at all interested in competitive eating, you know that there's entire fucking tomes written about the strategy and theories behind eating things like hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken wings, all those kinds of big things. I could find literally nothing on eating a massive brick of graham crackers. The closest I could find were saltines, but that's for such a short time frame, usually under a minute. I didn't really think it was applicable, and so I was going into this kind of completely blind. The first part of my strategy started yesterday. As a pregame, The first part of my strategy started yesterday. As a pregame, I did a 30-hour fast with a lemon water cleanse to get as much food out of me as possible. I did cheat a little bit when I was super hungry, but I mostly stuck to that, and I didn't eat anything past noon. I can assure you way more came out of me than went into me. You could have mistaken me for Willy... I forgot I wrote this. You could have mistaken me for Willy Wonka's chocolate river today, so needless to say, my colon is the cleanest it's ever been. The rest of the strategy I came up with looks something like this. I want to make sure I utilize as much of the 24 hours as I possibly can, so I'm going to stay up until midnight to get a good jump on it before I go to bed. My initial goal is to get between 50 and 100 crackers down between midnight and 1 a.m. Since I don't have to worry about calories as early, and because I still have plenty of time to digest while I sleep, I am going to do this along with milk to keep the taste good and to keep everything lubed up. Tomorrow morning when I wake up, I want to start snacking while I get everyone ready for school and work. Then once I drop my son off, I plan to attempt to get another 50 to 100 in. I would like to have at least the 200 mark by 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'll likely take a few hours off at that point so I can try and digest, and then just start eating as I'm able to without pushing too hard. Whenever my daughter goes down for a nap, usually between 12 and 1, I will do my third big push meal, with the goal of getting over the 300 mark. Once I get those down, I'll just go back to eating them as I can until sometime around 11, where I'll make my final push to get the last of them down. Lastly, I plan to keep on the move when I'm not eating, either walking around, pacing, exercising in some way to help burn off calories, to keep my hunger level high. I'm honestly not sure if that's a thing, but I see a lot of people talk about it, so I'm going to do it and hope it works out. The big issues I see popping up are flavor fatigue, where I get sick of eating graham crackers and my body just refuses to eat them anymore. This happens to me during my pickle challenge. I could put food in my mouth, but I could not force my body to swallow it. It wasn't from being full. I just literally couldn't eat anymore. Like, I would put the food in and chew it, and it would just fall out of my mouth. Like, my body absolutely refused to swallow any more food. I'm hoping to avoid this by adding different things to it, like peanut butter, cookie butter, milk, just to keep everything interesting and to keep my palate open. The other big issue I see that might pop up is just straight up muscular fatigue. My jaw, throat, and tongue are not used to moving that much food, and they may tire out. All I can really do is focus on not letting myself get fatigued too early and helping myself out with keeping things wet so they're easy to digest. Just to give you an idea on what this actually entails, let me break it down and do some stats real quick. 400 crackers is just under 16 boxes of graham crackers. Each box has 3 sleeves of 9 for a total of 27 sheets in a box. Every 2 sheets, there are 130 calories, which brings us to a whopping 2,600 calories. And frankly, that is a shitload of calories. I don't know if I've ever even eaten that many calories, to be honest with you. I'm not looking forward to that level of excessive eating. There's also a ton of sodium in there and a ton of sugar. So I should be fucking zooming all day. I'm also not excited to figure out what 14 pounds of graham crackers looks like blowing out my other end. I think it's a pretty good outline of things up until this point. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any critiques, honestly, I tried to reach out to some competitive eaters, and I never heard anything back. If you're a competitive eater, I would love to talk to you about training for something like this. So please feel free to shoot me a message. I would really like to talk to you. Oh, this was a PS from later in the night. It's now 10:40, and it's time to start getting ready. At this point, all I can do is say, see you on the other side. If I die, make sure this video gets published and tell my kids I love them. And that is it for day number 3. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. If you like this video, feel free to hit like and subscribe. We're going for 1,000 days. We're on day number 3. If you're in the New Hampshire area and you'd like to collaborate, or if you would like to hire me to video record one of your events, please feel free to shoot me a message. Best place to get a hold of me is nick@hammerdowndigital.com, or you can DM me on any platform. I'm Nick Sands Presents pretty much everywhere, so feel free to hit me up. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you guys have a great night. Talk to you later. Oh, whoops, I stopped my recording way too early. So I'm sorry for the audio change.